Welcome to this really exciting part of the course where we're going to start talking about traffic. You've now set your store up. You've got some fantastic products in the store and it's looking really, really great. But what of course we need is a constant source of really good, high quality traffic coming to our store every day so we can continue to make really great sales. Now, traffic, as you probably won't be surprised to hear, is an enormous subject. I mean, it really is. Not only is it huge, but it's constantly shifting. And it seems to me that you have a new platform popping up every 6 months, which could be the next and greatest traffic idea for your store. So as a result of that, this is where so many people get lost and overwhelmed. You might have heard of sort of one traffic source, let's say Facebook ads or something like that. Or you might be thinking, oh, Pinterest could be good for my store. But you very quickly or potentially get very quickly lost within all these different possibilities and get overwhelmed, give up, or perhaps lose money. And I don't want any of that to happen. So that's why I've put, this is where many people get lost and overwhelmed, but not on this course, because I'm going to teach you a strategy, okay? A strategy that I use and I know works. And most importantly, it's a strategy that you can use starting with $0, okay? Zero. I know that a lot of people that start this course, or a lot of people just try to start their own businesses, for example, don't have a huge budget. And so it's so important to be able to organically grow your business. So what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, let's say you start with $0 and you use perhaps a free traffic technique to get those initial sales. And then when those initial sales come in, now you've got a bit of money that you can start to invest in other traffic techniques that might require a little bit of investment. And then you make more sales and then you reinvest that and you go on like that. So you're organically building your business and you're not losing money. That is so key to success with entrepreneurship, particularly in e-commerce. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. You're going to see over the coming lectures, we're going to start with the best free traffic methods, okay? What I call the easy wins. Then once we got those sorted out, we'll move on to the best low cost traffic methods, the easy affordable wins. And then when it makes sense, which is typically when you've got plenty of sales coming in and plenty of money to reinvest, that's when we can start to talk about the best paid methods. Now, at the end of all of that, I'm going to pull this all together and show you step by step exactly what you need to do to build an incredibly profitable and sustainable source of traffic, okay? Or let me put it another way. I'm about to give you a ton of information and you might feel a little bit overwhelmed or even possibly a little bit confused with all the different methods that I'm going to introduce you to right now, okay? But don't worry, just let it wash over you and get excited about all these different possibilities. And at the end of it, I'm going to give you a strategy, this step-by-step strategy that you can follow to build out your really profitable and sustainable traffic source, okay? And lastly, the other thing that's amazing, that's really, really cool here, is that the stuff that I'm going to teach you here, this traffic building techniques, will work with any business. Obviously, I hope that this is going to be an enormous success for you here, this dropshipping business. And once you've done that, you perhaps go on and do other things. Perhaps you become a serial entrepreneur. I don't want to get carried away, but I just love the ideas like that. That's basically what I've been doing for the last 20 plus years. So you'll be able to take these techniques and use them now and in the future for any other business that you might want to do. So let's get going with all this traffic excitement, and I will see you in the next lecture. Now, just before we do start getting into all these different traffic methods, there are 3 things that I want to set up so that you are ready to receive the traffic, understand where it's coming from, what it's doing when it actually gets on your site, and just to capture a little bit of information that we can use in the future. So what am I talking about? We've got 3 upcoming lectures. This one right now, which is called Analytics. So we're going to delve a little bit into analytics so you can see where traffic is coming from. In the next lecture, we're going to use a piece of software called Lucky Orange. Okay, funny name, but Lucky Orange, so that you can see what people are actually doing on your site. And in the lecture after that, I'm going to show you how you can easily capture an email address so that you can use it for all-powerful email marketing later on down the road. Okay, that's coming up in the course, but not for right now. So don't worry, these are all pretty straightforward to set up, but it's really good to have it established so that you are ready for what's about to happen. So let's get going with the subject of this lecture, which is analytics. Now, the amazing thing here is you already have all analytics built into your Shopify platform for free. And I'm sure you've noticed this analytics over here in the menu. And if you click on this, you're going to get all kinds of statistics about your store. Now, one of the things I would say about analytics is that you can have so many statistics, you can genuinely get very, very lost in it, okay? And what Shopify has done here is it's giving you the key analytics. I mean, I would say it's not the most comprehensive piece of analytics software that's out there. There are others which are better, but right now, just getting started, this is absolutely perfect. And the things that you'll want to concentrate on as you go forward are more things like this. So online store sessions by location. So where your traffic is actually coming from. And then online store sessions by traffic source. Where the traffic source is the most effective. All right. So all of this information here will be incredibly useful for you going forward. So as you start to build out your traffic techniques, you want to start referring to this more and more, which is going to help you make intelligent decisions about what's working best. Now, there are a couple of other tabs down here. You have Reports and Live View, okay? Reports is something you want to delve into as you get more and more information. You'll be able to get more and more precise information about what's going on. So, for example, here, with acquisition, you can increase visitor engagement by knowing where your visitors are coming from. Okay, fantastic. And measuring the success of your campaigns. So in other words, you might have a traffic source that is working really well, that's working much better than another one, and you might therefore want to focus on that more than the others, okay? But all in good time. You don't need to worry about it right now. All I want to do is make you aware of what's possible. The last one here is Live View. Now, for me, quite frankly, this is more kind of just a bit of fun, really. It tells you exactly who's on your site from anywhere in the world. Okay, so kind of a nice to have, but I would say not absolutely essential. So really, for analytics, that's it. You already have everything built in to Shopify that you can use for everything you need going forward. So as I alluded to in the last lecture, in this lecture, we're going to install an app called Lucky Orange. Now, Lucky Orange allows you to actually see what your customers are doing on your site in real time. So just to make the distinction, analytics, if you like, shows us everything that has happened so that we can analyze it. But Lucky Orange lets us see our customer behavior in what's called heat maps. And those heat maps can be very, very helpful. Why? Well, they show us where our customers are going. We can see if there are any problems. Maybe they're having an issue with a button, perhaps having problems at the checkout. Could be a number of things, and with those heat maps, we can see exactly what's going on. Now, the way that I'm going to use this, and you'll see this will become clearer when we install the app, the way I use this is to record a few sessions once a week. I don't record everything all the time. That would be complete overkill. I record a handful of sessions every week, and then I look at them to see if there are indeed any issues on my site. Okay, so something you'll be doing periodically. So let's go ahead and actually install this. So let's click on Apps. Up here in the search bar, if you type Lucky, and then with a space, Orange, go to the Shopify App Store. And it's this one here that you're looking for, Lucky Orange, Heat Maps, and Replay. And by the way, I've got absolutely no idea why it's called Lucky Orange. Seems like a very strange name. But in any case, you can see that it's well starred and has plenty of reviews. This app has actually been around for many, many years now. It's very well established. So what I want to show you here are these highlights. So you've got increase your sales, watch a visitor navigate your site to see what's stopping them from buying. See where people clicked, scrolled, and tapped on your site. Learn more about your visitors. See which parts of pages drive conversions and which get ignored with heat maps. So hopefully with those examples, you can already start to see the power of this app. Now, this is a paying app, but there is also a free version. If we go down here, here's the free version. And essentially, the difference is the number of page views per month. And with the free version, you get 500, which to be perfectly honest is more than enough. Like I was saying before, this isn't something you just leave running all the time. In fact, when you do, it slows down your site a bit. So you really only want to do it from time to time anyway. So 500 page views per month really is sufficient, especially when you're just getting going. So let's get this installed. So I'll scroll up to the top here, click on Add App. We get the normal install page. Let's click on Install App. And then it takes you through this setup procedure. So let's get you set up. You got your shop name, full name, and email. By default, they are filled in. There's really nothing you need to do. So you can simply click on Connect with Shopify. Then tell us a little bit about yourself. So my full name, let's put in my website, which of course is thedogwithdoras.com. And then click on any of these. It doesn't really matter. Let's go for marketing, accept the terms of service and click on next. Again, click any of these that you want, but uncover trends is probably the most appropriate. Click on next again. And then finally, choose yourself a password and click on done. And we arrive on Lucky Orange on the main dashboard. And you can see here it says visitors online 1, which is me because I'm now on my website. So just to give you an idea of how this works, you're going to grasp this very, very quickly. Let me just go to my site. Let me click on Contact Us page. Let's go to the privacy policy. Let's click around and go to the clothing. Let's do all of that. And now let's go back to Lucky Orange and then go to the visitors. And so you can see here it's actually been recording me, okay, where I am online, the number of pages I visited, the duration I've been online for, whether I bought anything, etc. And then I can actually watch it. So if I click on watch, this is where I can actually watch a replay of everything that I did. So I hope with that very, very simple introduction, you get an idea of how useful this can be. So you can use this in 2 main ways, or at least that's what we do. Okay, you can be proactive. So in other words, you can make a recording, as I said before, let's say once a week. Once a week, you record everything that's going on for an hour. And then you come here and you look back through, you watch the videos and you see what people are doing. You see how they're behaving on your site. It may or may not throw up any kind of problems. And then secondly, you can be reactive. So it might be that somebody's contacted you and said, I'm having a problem at the checkout. I don't seem to be able to make the button work. You could then say, okay, hang on a second. You come over here to Lucky Orange, you start the recording, and then you say, could you now try to check out so that I can see exactly what you're trying to do? Do you see how that would work? Can you see how really both of those examples can be incredibly useful? So this tool, in my opinion, goes very well, goes hand in hand, if you like, with the analytics, giving you an extremely good idea of everything that's going on your site so that you're really 100% ready for the traffic that is about to come. So the last thing we want to do before driving traffic to our store is to be able to capture an email. Now, I'm not going to get into it now, but having an email address of your potential customers is an incredibly valuable resource. And of course, I'm going to show you how to use that later on in the course. But right now, I just want to show you what you need to do in order to get things set up so that you can capture emails. So, of course, we are going to be installing an app. So let's go over to apps. And in the search bar, I want you to type Privy, Privy, and then go to the App Store. And this is what you're looking for, okay? Privy, pop-ups, email, and SMS. So let's click on this. You see, it's an incredibly well-respected app with, at this point, almost 25,000 reviews, okay? This really is a fantastic app for capturing emails. So what we want to do, of course, is click on Add App, Install App, and then there's a small step where you need to confirm your business details. Now, if you don't have your business set up, don't worry. You can simply go to Skip, but I'm going to click on Confirm. Then we'll need to actually set up an account on Privy. So go to set up the account. So first off, tell us a little bit more about your business. So you'll see that all of these defaults you can accept. The only thing that probably you'll need to do is to pick an industry. But quite frankly, just pick anything. Okay, you can change it at any time anyway, and it's really not important. So I'm going to take clothing, and then I'm going to click on next. I'm going to skip this step. It's really not required at this stage. So click on next. Then at this point, it's saying, what's most important to you right now? Okay, we want to grow my list. That's what we're looking for. So make sure that's selected. Click on next. And then finally, click on review and publish. And when this little dialog pops up, just select 10%. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm just taking you through their wizard. You're going to see in a moment that it's done a nice bit of setup for you so that you're instantly able to capture emails. And of course, you can edit all this stuff later on. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm simply getting it going as quickly as possible. So with that done, all we need to do is click on Activate and Continue. And that brings us to the Privy dashboard. This is where you can create and edit pop-ups to capture emails to your heart's content. But as I was saying, they basically set one up for you very quickly. And this is it, what you're looking at, okay? This is on mobile. If I go up here, I can also see what it's going to look like on desktop. Perhaps it's a little bit clearer. Okay, so this is the pop-up. Of course, I think everybody doing this course is familiar with some kind of email capture when you visit websites, requesting your email, in return for some kind of information. So you can see here in this case, it says, join us, sign up for your 10% off your first purchase. Of course, that's what I just chose in the dialogue. And then, of course, the ability to capture the email and finally subscribe. And I think it probably goes without saying, but of course I can change this image if this wasn't appropriate for my business, which it probably isn't right now. All of this stuff you can very easily do over here. What I'm going to do at the moment is I'm simply going to click on Save. So that's the pop-up now created and saved. Now what we're looking at is part 2, as it were, which is the email that that person is then going to receive, okay, which of course you can edit as well. Now, I'm not going to do a full-blown tutorial on Pretty. You're going to find it very, very intuitive, very, very easy to set up. But what I am going to do is I'm going to publish this so you can actually see what it looks like on the site. So in order to do that, all I need to do is to go over here and click on the Publish button. You then need to launch it. And then let's go over to the site to see what it's actually going to look like. So if I go over to the Dobradoras, you see my pop-up dialog box, okay, as I have designed it. And I stress once again, of course, all of this is totally customizable. But just by example, let me now simulate somebody coming to my store and wanting to subscribe to my newsletter in order to get my 10% off their first purchase. So let's imagine it was Tim at test.com, okay, who comes along. Going to click on subscribe. It confirms you're on the list, and in this case provides them with the 10% code that they can use. Now, if we go back to the Privy dashboard and go to contacts, you see the email address that I entered sitting here. And this, of course, is where all of the email addresses are going to be listed. So as time goes on, you're going to build up an email list, and you're going to see later on in the course that you can use that email list to drive even more sales. So I'd really encourage you to set up Privy. You can see once again, no technical knowledge required, okay? All point and click. Have fun with it. Create yourself a great form to capture those emails on your site. Now, having said that, what I don't want to do at this stage is to overwhelm you. I'm always trying to give you as much information as I possibly can, as I think you've seen so far on this course. And sometimes I'm in danger of just giving you, let's say, a bit too much. Now, if you do feel overwhelmed, please don't worry about necessarily installing these apps at this stage. You're going to see in the upcoming lectures that I'm going to teach you a bunch of techniques to drive free traffic to your site so that your customers will buy your products. And there, of course, is the option to install these apps at a later stage. But if you do want to install them now, so much the better. In any case, I will see you in the next section where I'm about to give you a ton of really, really valuable information. Okay, brilliant. We've now got everything set up and we are ready to start receiving our free traffic to our site. So before we actually get going with the various techniques, I've posed the question, as you can see here, why free traffic? Why even bother with free traffic? Now, the normal typical answer, okay, at this point is, of course, because it doesn't cost anything. It's free. And of course, that is entirely true. That's one of the great beauties, one of the great attractions of having free traffic. But there is, in fact, a little bit more to it than that, because free traffic is also a source of traffic that keeps on giving. It will continue in perpetuity forever to send traffic to your site. So why is that? Well, free traffic is essentially about creating content that you put onto various platforms. And that content, unless you decide to delete it yourself or the platform no longer exists, that content will basically stay on the internet forever. And that means that people will find it. They'll continue to find it forever, click on the links and visit your store. It never goes away. So in that sense, free traffic is an amazing source of traffic. Unlike, as you can see I put here, paid traffic. I mean, paid traffic is great. The moment you start paying for it, traffic comes to your site. But of course, the opposite is also true. The moment you stop paying, no more traffic. It's done. It's never coming back. But with free traffic, you don't have that issue. The other really incredible part about free traffic, and this is something that's typically massively overlooked and really not discussed, is that you really get to know and understand your ideal customer. Building a profitable and successful business is all about matching the ideal customer with the ideal product. So that customer just comes along and says, yeah, that's what I want. I mean, companies spend billions, literally billions of dollars trying to achieve that through their advertising campaigns and market research, you name it. So understanding who your ideal customer is is absolutely key. And it's something that people struggle with because they're like, oh, I don't really know who might buy this product. You know, my case, dog jewelry, right? We're talking about dog jewelry as my example. Who will actually buy that? I'm not really sure. But when you start creating content for various platforms, you'll see these platforms in a moment, and you basically interact with customers. Those are your ideal customers. You get to understand exactly what they need and want. And that is unbelievably valuable. I really can't emphasize that enough. And it's something, as I say, that's often overlooked. Once you understand that as well, when you move to paid traffic, then defining who your ideal customer is going to be far more straightforward. And your paid traffic strategies are therefore going to be far more effective. All right. So it doesn't cost anything in the first place. It's a continuous source of traffic, and you get the incredible advantage of getting to know and really understand who your ideal customer is. Now, having gone through those fantastic advantages of free traffic, I need to be honest with you and say that it does have a big disadvantage in the sense that it's much harder to scale. Why is that? Well, free traffic is essentially dependent on creating content. The more content you create, the more traffic you will have to your site. And creating huge amounts of content is, in fact, a pretty hard thing to do. You know, it becomes very time consuming and therefore hard to scale. So where, therefore, does free traffic fit into our overall strategy now that we know what we know? So the way to think of it is it's the perfect place to start, okay, especially if you have a limited budget or limited experience. And if that's you, then don't worry, because that is so typically the case. I mean, you've got to start somewhere, okay? So your budget is likely to be zero or perhaps very small, or even if you've got a bit of a budget, you're not sure really where to spend it. And it's also like you don't have the experience. I mean, that's one of the reasons you're doing this course. You're wondering how to generate traffic. You don't have a lot of experience in that manner. And so for those two reasons, it really is the perfect place to start. So yes, it does require a bit of work to get this going. But once we do get it going, we can use it then to generate the initial sales, okay? And the really nice thing about that, by the way, is you're going to maximize your profit because you're not spending any money at all on advertising, okay? So you start to get money in the bank, which is fantastic, which you can then reinvest later on. We'll see all this. Reinvest later on with more efficient methods. It enables you to grow your business organically. You're not putting a bunch of money out there and thinking, God, I hope this works. You know, when I wake up tomorrow morning, I really hope I see sales. Otherwise, I've blown through $200 or whatever. We're not doing that, okay? We're going to start from scratch and we're going to build this sensibly, organically, so that you can build a fantastic long-term business that you can be proud of and, of course, generates you a fantastic income. Okay, enough chat. Let's get into the methods themselves. So welcome to this very first lecture on how to generate free traffic for your store. Now, as I said in the last lecture, free traffic is essentially about creating content. And that content needs to be useful, okay? And I say that because out there on the internet, there's an awful lot of content that is just rubbish, okay? You do not want to be creating rubbish content. It needs to have some kind of value. So whatever you write, whatever you contribute to, needs to have some sort of value. Because then what happens is people will read it, they'll go, oh, okay, this person seems to know what they're talking about, and they will check you out further, and you ultimately led to your website, where of course you're selling products that are very interesting for them, and hopefully therefore you go ahead and make a sale. Okay, it really is as simple as that, but it all starts with good quality content. So in my example here, I am creating a dog jewelry store. So what I want to be doing out there on the internet is providing interesting, good quality content around dogs. Yeah. If I can talk about dogs, if I can provide useful information to other people who are asking questions about dogs, whatever it might be, people will value that and they'll be like, oh, who's this Tim guy? Let me check him out a bit more. End up on Tim's fantastic deals, see some fantastic dog jewelry and go ahead and buy it. Okay. So that really is the process. So what I'm going to do in the next few lectures is show you some simple methods where you can easily achieve that. And this very first one is called Facebook Attraction Marketing, which is going to allow us to get high quality targeted traffic directly from Facebook for free. And how we do that is via Facebook groups. So if I come over to the groups here, what I've done already is I've done a search on groups related to dogs, right? That's pretty much where my ideal customer is going to live because, of course, many of those will be interested in buying dog jewelry. And so my goal is to try and connect with as many people within these groups as possible so that they get to know me within the group and then check me out. I will put a link to my site within my Facebook profile. So you can kind of imagine the process. So like, who is this Tim guy? They go and check out my profile. They see the link and they visit the store. Okay, that's how they make the connection. So I want to try and connect with as many people within these groups as possible in order to make that happen. Now, when it comes to dog groups, there are absolutely tons, right? I'm sure I could carry on scrolling down the list here for half an hour and still not reach the end. So what we want to do is not to join every single group. That would be insane. What we do want to do, however, is join, let's say, 3 or 4 groups, which are good groups. So how do we decide what a good group is? Well, we want a decent number of members, and we also, crucially, want good engagement within the group. Okay, so we want stuff going on within the group. So if I click on this one here, Dog Lover, just at the top here, for example, lots and lots of members, right? 440,000 members. But as I go down here, I get to see what's going on. So 20 hours ago, we had this. And yesterday, there was something else. And then back in September the 30th, there was that. And so it goes on. 20 hours ago, there was this little cute picture. All right, there seems to be a lot of activity going on within this group. So it would be a good idea for me to join this one. Now, joining the group, of course, is super easy. It pretty much is just basically the click of a button. You might have to go through some sort of admin approval, but typically you'll be accepted within the group. So that's the easy bit. Then what we need to think about is how do we interact within the group itself in order to build a good reputation and get people coming to our store. So let me tell you what you must never do. First of all, okay, you must never directly sell within the group. Do not start posting links to your product pages saying, hey guys, check this dog jewelry out. I think you'll really, really like it. Okay. That is essentially spamming. And what's going to happen is you'll be thrown out of the group within minutes probably and never allowed back in. Okay. So you never ever sell. You are there to provide value to other group members, either by posting value posts within it. Could have something like 5 ways to take care of your dog. Right? It's just literally off the top of my head, something like that. Or you could respond to questions that people are asking, or simply just join in the chat, join in the comments within the various posts within the group. And by working like that, over time, you will become a valued member. People will respect you. And as I said before, those posts are going to stay there forever. People searching for stuff within this group are going to see your posts and they're going to continue to come to your site. And some of them are going to buy. Now, at the same time as that, and I talked about this in the last lecture, at the same time as that, you're going to start to understand your ideal customer. When you read these various posts and interact, you're going to start understanding how they think and what are their wants and desires, right? What sort of products ultimately they might be interested in. You might end up shifting some of the products in your store over time based on various things that you might have seen within these groups. So if you take the time to do this with, I say, 3 or 4 groups, you really can build a very valuable, high quality stream of free traffic from Facebook, which is clearly one of the biggest sites in the world. Okay. So this really is a great start. Now, as a final comment on this strategy, the thing you want to be careful with is your time. You need to think about your time carefully because you don't want to be spending half the day on Facebook groups. Okay. That's not the objective here. What you want to be able to do is to come in and just spend, let's say, 5 or 10 minutes a day, something like that, maybe 15, all right? But just what I'm trying to say is a small amount of time. Scan the groups, see if there's anything where you can add value, possibly make a couple of posts, and then you're out, okay? Now, in the beginning, that process might seem a bit odd. You might be wondering what sort of content you could possibly post. But trust me, within a few days, it starts to become really obvious what's going on. You're going to see trends repeating all of the time. And as I've already said, that's really going to help you to further understand your ideal customer and the kinds of products that they want. So that's Facebook attraction marketing. And just let me explain the name, by the way. Maybe I should have done that right at the beginning. But possibly you see why it's called attraction marketing. We are attracting new customers via this form of marketing. And in this way, using Facebook. Okay, so Facebook attraction marketing. I hope that's clear why it's called that. Okay, so that's the very first free traffic method. You're going to see the next ones coming up are similar, but using different platforms. But I hope you can really appreciate already how powerful this technique can be. So in the same way that we used attraction marketing to get free visitors from Facebook, we can do pretty much the same process, but this time using a different platform called Quora. Now, if you don't know what Quora is, it bills itself essentially as a social-based question and answer website. So people can go on, ask questions, and people can provide answers, as simple as that. It started about 10 years ago, and its popularity has absolutely exploded. If I look over here on SimilarWeb, just to see how many sort of visitors they're getting, so Quora.com, we can see that globally it's the 87th most visited website in the world. And down here we see that we've got, what is that? Around about sort of 550 million visits a month. Okay, so it's huge. So it's really worth being part of. Now, in order to use it, as I was saying, is pretty much the same as Facebook in many ways. So here I am on Quora, okay, Quora.com. I'm going to search for dog. For the reasons that we all know about now. I want to basically get involved with answering questions about dogs so that I can attract people to my site. So if I search on dog, then down the left-hand side here, you see questions. If I click on that, then absolutely tons of questions about dogs start to pop up. And I could just go ahead and answer as many of these as I wanted. Now, the way that I suggest you approach this again in order to avoid overwhelm is, first of all, you sign up for free. The whole thing's completely free. You sign up for free, you create your profile, and of course you drop the link to your website in your profile. Then you go ahead and you answer, let's say, 20 or maybe 30 questions, something like that, as a first off, okay, just to get things going. And then, much like I suggested with Facebook, you set a little bit of time aside per day, 5 or 10 minutes, where you just come back and see if there are any new questions related to dogs, okay, that you can therefore answer. Now, in fact, once you've put your email in, you're going to receive emails from Quora prompting you to visit the site to answer any new questions. So in many ways, it's absolutely fantastic. You can just kind of wait for Quora to tell you that there's new content. So you can either do it that way, or you can visit the site periodically to see if there's any new content you can get involved in. So once again, a really great, really simple way to drive those super targeted potential customers to your site. Next on the list on your quest to drive free traffic to your store, we have Reddit, which I'm sure you've heard of. The world's biggest social news aggregation and discussion site. It's absolutely huge. And if I dive over to SimilarWeb this time to have a look at reddit.com, we see it's the 21st most visited website in the world and a staggering sort of 1.5 billion visits per month. So absolutely massive. So how can we get involved with Reddit? Well, the same thing, sign up for free, create your profile, and in the description on your profile, you'll be able to drop a link to your site. And then we do much the same thing. So I can go up here to the search bar and I can search for dog, hit return. Now what you get here each time is best results, posts, and communities and users. And what I suggest you do is you head over here to communities and users. And that's going to bring up some nice communities that you can get involved with. So this one here, this dog subreddit with almost 100,000 members could be really great for me. I could join this and then start contributing in exactly the same way as I do on Facebook and both Quora. Always providing value, never selling directly. And so once again, go ahead and answer a few questions in this just to kind of get going and get involved, see what the site's about, especially if you've never used it before. And then set yourself a small schedule every day to come in here and just answer a few more questions, get involved with discussions, whatever it might be. And all the while, as well as driving that traffic to your site, of course, you are learning more and more about the ideal customer for your business. Now, it's at this point in the course that I want to introduce the idea of starting your very own blog. Now, the good news first. The good news is that within Shopify, we already have a blog completely built in for free included. So there's literally nothing to do there. You go down to your online store here and click on blog posts. Then we can very quickly start creating our own blog. I'm pretty sure everybody on this course knows what a blog is, right? So I don't think I need to describe that. So basically just a series of articles building up over time. So why would we even want to consider a blog? Well, actually, there are two reasons. The first reason is that we can drive free traffic to our store. When we write articles, ultimately they will get picked up by Google and other search engines within their natural rankings, and people will visit your store when they search on certain keywords. Now, a bit later on in the course, I'm going to talk a little bit more about SEO, search engine optimization, which will help your blog post rank more highly within Google. But there's a little bit of a cost involved with that, so that's going to be the next section when I talk about the affordable wins. But right now, it can be a great idea just to start a blog, just familiarizing yourself with the process. Now, the second reason for starting a blog is that it builds credibility. And this has an enormous indirect impact on your sales. And what I mean by that is that when somebody comes to your site looks great and everything, if they see a blog with all kinds of fantastic information in it, it builds confidence with that customer. They start to know, like, and trust you, and therefore the chance of them buying from your site goes up enormously. And so I hope you can see why, for those two main reasons, creating a blog is a great idea. Now, the thing that happens very, very quickly with blogs is that people aren't sure what to write about, okay? Not perhaps just in the beginning, but also in the long term. Because when you start a blog, you're in it for the long term. You want to be creating content on a regular basis, perhaps once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month. I mean, people write daily blogs more than that, but basically it needs to be a constant flow of information. So the problem becomes, what do I write about? Well, there's a reason I put this lecture in here at this point in the course. And that's because we've already been looking at Facebook, Quora, and Reddit in the previous lectures. And I've been saying to you, that's going to be an amazing place to uncover your ideal customer, to really understand their wants and needs. And as you spend time on those sites, you're going to find it really, really obvious the sort of subjects that you need and want to write about. It'll just happen. It just kind of happens naturally as you wander through those sites. So this is now the perfect time to start thinking about a blog. All of the potential content is already there as you explore those previous sites and get increasing number of ideas. So I really would encourage you at this stage just to start the bare bones of your blog. We'll build on it as we go. But just at the moment, just get going. Maybe just create your very first blog post. Just anything. Just start writing something down. See what it looks like on your site. And from there, we can further develop this great opportunity. Okay, so it's time to start talking about Pinterest, which is a fantastic free source of traffic and also a source that we can build on further throughout the course if you so wish. Now, Pinterest, I'm sure you're aware of it, but if you're not, it's a huge kind of image sharing social media site. In fact, I like to think of it as a sort of image search engine in a way. I like to think of Google as kind of a text search engine, YouTube as a kind of video search engine, and Pinterest as an image search engine. It's kind of like that, right? But more to the point, it has a huge amount of traffic. And what's really, really interesting is the buyer intent on Pinterest is really, really high. If you've not heard that term before, buyer intent, it basically means that people coming to Pinterest have a very high intention of actually buying. So therefore, they are very, very interesting to us. So let's see what we need to do to get going with Pinterest. Well, the first thing we want to do is to set up an account on Pinterest itself. And what we need to do more particularly is to create a business account, okay? Nothing particularly special about the business account. It's just the type of account that we need in order to connect with Shopify. So by going to Pinterest.com, you will see over here on the right-hand side, business. So you just need to click on that and then click on the sign up button. So I need to create an account unless you've got an existing account, in which case all you need to do is log in. But if you need to create an account, then it's just your email, password, and then your age. So with that filled in, I can click on create account. And then I need to build my profile. So I'm going to start with my profile name. So I could choose anything here, but I'm going to stick with the most logical for the moment, which would be Tim's Fantastic Deals. I could call it Incredible Dog Jewelry, whatever I want, right? But I'm going to keep it simple just for the moment. Tim's Fantastic Deals. Then, do you have a website? Yes, I do. That's obviously crucial. So we need to put in timsfantasticdeals.com. Then I'll leave this as suggested. Click on next. So what's the focus of your brand? Well, I'm kind of in the beauty, I think, out of that list. And then what are your goals? Well, I'm here basically to sell more products. Next. What type of business am I in? Well, it's online retail or marketplace. You can see here, in fact, e.g. Shopify store. So that's nice and easy. Click on next again. What do you use to sell your products? Well, of course, it's Shopify. And then a little prompt to see if we want to run ads. Well, we're not ready for that yet, and you may never want to run ads. So we're just going to select I'm not sure yet, and then click on next. We can skip this part, so skip this. And you are done. That's it. Simple as that. I have created my Pinterest business account. So if I just click this away, we're going to come back to this sort of thing in a moment. But if we just click this away, and you can see here, get started with Pinterest advertising, my business hub, all great stuff. All right. So don't worry. We're not going to be spending any money on advertising. As I say, don't worry about that. This is simply future proofing it. So if you did ever want to later on, of course you could. But for the moment, of course, we are focusing on free traffic. So with that done, the next thing I want to do is head back to our Shopify admin. Okay, so I'm back. So what I've done at the moment is I've just created an account on Pinterest. Simple as that. Well, what I now need to do is to connect my Shopify store with my new Pinterest account. Okay, so the two can talk to each other. And we effectively do that via a sales channel. Okay. Now, a sales channel is simply an outlet for your products. So at the moment, our outlet is the online store. We are selling on our website, but we can sell on other channels, on other sites, in other places directly. Okay, those are sales channels. So we could be selling directly on Google or Facebook, or we could even have our own physical store. That would be another sales channel. But right now, of course, it's all about Pinterest. So come over here to where it says sales channels and click on this little plus button. As you scroll down through the list here, you're going to see Pinterest. Get your products in front of shoppers on Pinterest. So let's click on the plus button next to that. Then we see this, you're about to add Pinterest. And if we scroll down, we get this button here, add sales channel. And now what we can do is we can connect the Pinterest account that we just created. So I'll click on connect Pinterest account. So click on the login button. And at this point, we need to authorize the app. So you can see here, Pinterest and Shopify would like to create and manage your ad campaigns. Again, don't worry about ad campaigns at the moment. Create new pins and boards, create and update your Pinterest tag, etc., etc. Basically, get the two talking to each other. Okay. So all we need to do then is click on give access. And when the page refreshes, all you then need to do is click on the accept button to accept their terms and conditions. And then as a final step, you need to add billing information. So as it says here, you're only going to be charged if you run ads on Pinterest. You are not obliged to run ads on Pinterest. You can have this as a free channel forever if you want, in which case you will never ever be billed. But nevertheless, it's just the way it works. You do need to add billing information. So I'm going to click on add billing. And then you just need to fill in a few details. Now, if you haven't got a business, don't worry. Okay. Just put in your own personal information here. Okay. Later on, if you do really start advertising on Pinterest, yes, you will need some kind of business because you'll need to generate invoices. But right now, all we're doing is generating free traffic. So simply putting your own personal details is no problem. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill in all this information. You don't need to sit there and watch me do all that. And I'll see you back on the Shopify admin once I'm done. Okay, so that's all complete. And you can see, at least at the moment, they're giving me 85 euros in ad credit to advertise on Pinterest, which is very, very nice. I don't know whether that'll be the case with you, but for me, that's certainly the situation at the moment. Now, what you'll also notice that in the sales channels, we now have Pinterest added. Okay, so we've got two, the online store and Pinterest. Scrolling down a bit here, this is the bit I want to show you. We will sync all your products to Pinterest and automatically create and publish pins for you. All right. So it really is very, very cool. Any of the products that you already have within your store will be pushed to your Pinterest board so you can start to get in front of that enormous Pinterest audience. Let me show you something else as well. If we go over to the products and then click into any one of your products, over here in your sales channels and apps, you can now see that is showing on the online store and Pinterest. And if you ever wanted to change that, just simply click on this manage link here. And you could take it off Pinterest here simply by unchecking the box. But I'm going to leave it on for the moment and click on done. Now, having said that everything is on Pinterest, that won't be instantly the case when you first set this up. Sometimes it can take a few days, in fact, to sync your product on Shopify store with your Pinterest account in the first instance, okay, just to get the thing going. After that, it goes way more quickly. Now, in order to round this lecture out, I just want to give you a few tips on how you can get started with Pinterest. Okay, I'm not going to do a huge deep dive into Pinterest because otherwise we'd be here for like days, you listening to me purely about Pinterest. And in fact, that's pretty much the flavor of all of these traffic methods I'm going to be talking to you about as we go through this. You can see from what we've already done and probably what's coming up in the lectures that I'm giving you a massive amount of information about how to set up an incredible traffic strategy going forward where you don't lose money. Okay, that's the key thing. But what I'm not going to do, and I don't have the time to do, and you don't want to sit there for hours and hours and hours and days and days and days listening to me, is to do a deep dive into each one. The idea here is that you get an amazing helicopter view of all the possibilities. You can then choose the ones you want to do. You can do all of them if you want. And then you can go and do further research in order to make that work the best for you. But nevertheless, I do want to give you just a few tips so that you're really set up in the correct way on Pinterest. So if you go over to your Pinterest account, the first thing I suggest you do is you come over to your account here on the right-hand side, click on the business name and add a cover, okay? Just so that your Pinterest account looks great. Now, the other thing is, as we know, these products are going to now get pushed to Pinterest, so you will have pins, okay? Pinterest pins, that's what Pinterest is all about, having pins on boards. Now, that means that you are only showing products for sale on your Pinterest account. And while that's a great start, it's not a brilliant long-term strategy. You don't want to appear just completely salesy all the time. So what do we want to do? Well, like all of the free traffic strategies, we want to create value, right? Everything I've taught you up to now is so important with free traffic to lead with value, and Pinterest is no exception. And so as well as our pins that are selling our products, we also want to create value pins. How do we do that? We simply go up to Create, click on Create Pin. And this is basically the template that you can use to create any pin. It's super simple. And once you dive into this, you're really going to enjoy creating pins and you're going to see how easy it is. So you just need a title, you need some kind of description, and of course, an image or a video. But what I want to specifically draw your attention to is this bit here, add a destination link. Because what you can do here is be really intelligent with your time when it comes to creating these value posts. How? Well, you can take the blog post that hopefully you've been thinking about and maybe you've already created. You could create a very simple pin with the image and the title and the description that basically is a lead-in to your blog post, and then that destination link, of course, takes them directly to your blog. More free traffic for your site. So now what happens is, if you imagine you've got a board with 50 pins on it, you might have 10 of those, the products that you're actually selling, and the other 40 might be linked back to your blog post. So, of course, that's going forward. That's in, sometime in the future, not right now. But you get the idea. That's how you use Pinterest to drive an enormous amount of free traffic. So this is going to be the last lecture in this series of free traffic strategies. And what I've done here, I hope what you can see, is I've given you what I consider to be, in my experience, the most effective traffic sources. There are, of course, other traffic sources. One can immediately think of Instagram or YouTube or perhaps Snapchat. There are many. And as I said before, they keep on popping up. I mean, traffic is such a huge subject, it's very much a moving target. But the ones that we focused on, we initially started with collecting the emails. I know we haven't talked about that specifically, but we will do in a bit. You're going to see how useful that is. So collecting the emails. We then talked about Facebook, Quora, Reddit, starting your own blog. And that group of traffic sources, while there are others, that specific group of traffic sources that we've been looking at generates an incredible free traffic opportunity. But what actually is possible? What could we actually expect from these free traffic sources, both in terms of the amount of traffic and then, of course, ultimately sales? Well, it is, of course, very difficult to summarize because everybody's experience will be different. And I am definitely not one to hype things up, okay? That's no way to build a business or to teach you how to build a business. But you might realistically expect, not in the first instance, but after a little bit of time, you might realistically expect perhaps 1,000 visitors a month. Okay, that should be totally doable across those traffic sources. You may well get more, but let's just focus on 1,000 visitors a month. Now you can see here as well, I've written warm traffic. So what does that mean? Well, it means that the traffic that's going to come to your store already kind of knows about you to a certain extent, particularly with the attraction marketing techniques I taught you and the blog and your Pinterest pins. By the time they get to the store, they know, like, and trust you a little bit. It's warm traffic. They're already kind of fairly inquisitive and possibly ready to buy. And that means that your conversion rates will be higher than pure cold traffic. Okay, so for really cold traffic, we typically go for something like 1%. But for warm traffic, you can typically consider 5% as being realistic. So if we have 1,000 visitors coming to our store, it's possible we would then get 50 sales. And given that you're not spending any money on traffic, you have a very high profit margin, and you should be able, therefore, to achieve around $20 per sale. So 50 sales at $20 per sale is $1,000 a month, just from free traffic. And as I say, it could go higher. So you could, if you wanted to, stop right here, at least in terms of your traffic strategy, and basically use free traffic exclusively. Or you might want to consider reinvesting those profits back into the store to take you to the next stage so that we can further grow the business. One thing I would say about free traffic, it is an incredible source, but I think I said this before as well in a previous lecture, it is quite difficult to scale. And the reason for that is because it's content driven. You need to spend a lot of time on Facebook, on Reddit, on Quora, creating your blog, doing Pinterest pins, etc. It's all possible. It's entirely possible. But it is a little more difficult to scale because it does require quite a lot of your time. So if you want to scale further, if you want to get into multiple thousands per month, then you might want to consider reinvesting what you got from your free traffic strategy into the next stage, which is coming up, of course, in the next section. But the whole thing is entirely up to you. Whatever you feel most comfortable with is what you should be doing in the beginning. But you can see already that you have a fantastic opportunity purely with free traffic to start building an incredible business. So moving on from our free traffic strategies, the next thing I'm going to look at in this section are what I term easy, affordable wins. Maybe easy is going a bit farther, not always super easy, but relatively speaking, this is actually pretty straightforward, okay? Hence, I've used easy, affordable wins. You can quickly gain traffic with these methods, but you will require a small investment. Now, what I'm suggesting is that you're reinvesting money that you've already made as a result of your free traffic strategies, and that we therefore continue to build your business organically. Now, once again, there are many, many traffic strategies that could fit into this section, but what I'm about to show you here are those that I feel give you the biggest bang for your buck, get you to your ultimate goal, which of course is to build your business as quickly as possible and start making really great money every single month. So let's get into it. So in this lecture, we're going to talk about SEO, search engine optimization, which is simply the way of showing up as high as possible in those search engine rankings, okay, typically within Google. Now, this is an absolutely immense subject. I mean, you could literally just do this as a full-time job, no problem whatsoever. Now, of course, we don't want to do that. What we want to do is get the best advantages as quickly as we possibly can. And Shopify, once again, enables us to do that through the use of a really fantastic app. So let's have a look and get this app installed. So I've actually gone over to the App Store already just for the sake of speed, and let's type in here SEO, okay? And then click on search. Now the one that I recommend you have a look at is this one here, Plugin SEO. And the reason I recommend it is because it's got fantastic ratings, literally thousands of reviews, and it's an app that's been around for a very long time. It's very well respected and very well established. Now, although there's a free plan available, it's better to view this app as a paying app, okay, in order to get the most out of it. And the fee at the moment is $20 a month. Now, the question you should always ask yourself when you buy anything in business, in fact, but particularly with apps, is if I'm going to pay this fee, is it going to give me multiples of that in return? Is it going to be worth it? So if I'm going to invest $20 a month into this app, is it going to bring me at least $100 a month extra in revenue? Now, I firmly believe that to be the case, and therefore I would encourage you to click on Add App to get this thing installed. Install the app. And then we get a 14-day free trial, after which we'll be charged. And of course, you can stop this at any time, okay? So if you want to make a note of when your free trial is going to end, possibly do that. And by that time, you'll have a good feeling for whether you want to use this or not. Otherwise, it's going to be $20 every 30 days. So let's click on Start Free Trial. And with that done, we arrive on the plugin SEO console. Now, the way this is arranged is you have these checks here: search trend, the knowledge base for anything you might want to do, SEO tools, support, and then a recommended for you down the bottom here, which is additional paying services, which you do not need to get into unless you want to. In fact, really the only thing you want to keep an eye on here, especially in the beginning, are the checks. Because what you can do here is you can do all of the SEO improvements on your site without having to know anything about SEO, okay? It will take care of it for you and make those suggestions. So, for example, where we have SEO problems worthwhile to fix, if I click on this, it asks me what keywords do I want to target. Now, what are keywords? Keywords are simply the words that somebody's going to type into the Google search bar in order to potentially find your site. So you can come up with a list of keywords quite easily. Just think about the products on your site and maybe think about some of the content of your blog, okay? Within a pretty short space of time, you can probably come up with 10 or 20 keywords very easily. So for me, I'm just going to do a quick example here. Of course, my store is just a development store for teaching, so there's really not much on it, but at least I can show you how this works. So I would target, let's say, dog jewelry. So every time somebody types dog jewelry into the Google search engine, I want my site to rank as highly as possible. So if I add that in as a keyword, of course I could add in multiple keywords at this point, but I'm just going to use one for the moment so that you get the idea of how this works. Then I'm going to click on Save and View My Results. And then what it's going to do is tell me what's gone wrong, what needs to be done in order for my site to be better optimized for the word. And it breaks it down into these various things. So we've got headings, we've got subheadings, page titles, image alt tags, etc. And you can see that those with a cross above are the things that absolutely need attention. It's not working at all. Those with the little warning signal here, of course, we can choose whether to do that or not. That's a warning. And then we get a tick over here for those things that don't need any attention at all. So for the heading, for example, it's saying your keywords haven't been included, which is absolutely the case. Now, in order to fix that, all I need to do is to go down to this section, fix this yourself. Now, it might seem this is a little bit fiddly, but trust me, once you've done this once, you'll really see how fairly quick and easy it is. For the most part, it's point and click, copy paste. You don't need any specific technical knowledge, and you certainly don't need any specific SEO knowledge, okay? And you can go through that for each of the sections. So for the subheading, if I scroll down here, it's going to give me the instructions I need to fix this myself for the subheading, and so on. So you can do that for each of your keywords. So if you were to put, let's say, 2 or 3 hours aside with this, very quickly you can optimize your site for SEO. Now, as you create additional content, if we think back to those free traffic site ideas in particular, and probably more specifically thinking about your blog, each time you create content for your site, you might have new keywords that you would then come back into this particular app and optimize your site accordingly. Now, to be honest, it's not always easy to measure accurately the financial gains that we get from doing this SEO kind of work. Okay, so it's difficult to know that if we did put in a few hours, whether we would get an additional $1,000 a month or $200 a month. It's difficult to assess that because of the way the traffic comes in. But what I can tell you are 2 things. First of all, you will definitely get more than $20 worth of sales out of doing this. And secondly, you don't need to spend any time with expensive SEO consultants and experts, that kind of thing, or indeed really the additional services offered by this app. If you go through these simple steps and you keep it up to date with any new content you might have on your site, you will definitely get the benefits of SEO and increase your sales with a very small investment of both time and money. So I'm sure you remember several lectures ago, we installed an app called Privy, which allowed us to capture an email whenever somebody visited our site. So a very simple email capture method, okay? And I said at that time that I would talk later on in the course why we were doing that. Well, this is that moment, because what I want to talk about in this lecture is email marketing. Now, not surprisingly, email marketing is a marketing method that uses email. Okay, great. But what are we actually doing? Well, what we're really doing is we're building up a list of emails, okay, a list of people essentially interested in our business, and then we're going to use email itself in order to keep contact with those people and now and again entice them back to our site to buy our products. In a nutshell, it's essentially that. Now, in terms of its value, and this is quite an interesting one to note, in terms of its value, what's often quoted is that each email address you have in your database is worth $1 per month. So imagine you collected 10,000 emails over a period of time, which is entirely possible. You should be making about $10,000 a month purely from email marketing, okay? So it still remains to this day, despite all the zillions of other ways of bringing people to websites, it still remains to this day a highly effective method. And in addition, it's highly affordable, which is why I've included, of course, in this section on easy, affordable wins. So as I've just mentioned, you've already set up the method by which you can capture emails. Now we need to look and see what we need to do in order to contact our customers, bring them back to our site, and actually generate sales. So to do that, let's head over to our apps and go to Pretty. Now this app is incredibly powerful and will enable us to do other things with your business going forward. But right now we just want to keep it simple because what we're talking about is sending out newsletters to our customer list, to our email list. And to do that, what we need to do is to go up to here where it says email and text and come down and you see newsletters here. Okay, I don't know whether you can see that, but it says send promotions and updates to stay in front of your customers. Exactly what we want to do. So if I click on this, it brings up this really nice wizard that basically enables us to create newsletters very, very quickly and easily and as ever with no technical knowledge whatsoever. Now, in our existing plan, we can't send newsletters. We are somewhat restricted. Okay, so remember this is the section on easy, affordable wins, so there's always a small price tag attached to the methods that I'm teaching you. So if you do actually want to implement this, if you go over here to the top, click on this thing here and go over to plans and pricing. Currently I'm in the Privy trial, okay, which is going to end fairly soon. But if I go up to upgrade and then click on this see details, this is the quickest way for me to show you exactly how this will work. So as we come down here, it says grow your online sales with Privy. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what we want to do. Email and conversion. Okay, so that's us. So you can see here, calculate your cost per Privy, number of contacts. So by default, we got 100. That's free, but you could also see that we can't send emails. Okay, so that's crossed out. All we can do is collect the emails in the manner that we're already doing. So just by way of example, let's imagine we've now collected 500 contacts. Okay, hit the calculate button, and that's going to be $30 a month. Okay, so we're paying Privy $30 a month for our 500 contacts, which now enables us to send newsletters. Now, I just told you that it should be $1 per month that you should be getting from each of the emails that you have. So a list of 500 emails should be generating you $500 a month, and you're paying $30. So effectively a very, very good return on investment. So I really hope you can see the advantage of this. Now, just a few tips on how you should use email. First of all, never, ever spam. Okay, never spam. Of course, they're opting into your list, so you're not essentially spamming. But what I mean is don't send an email every single day with, slightly irrelevant information, always kind of in a begging way, trying to get them back to your site, that kind of stuff. We've all seen those emails. They don't work, so you definitely don't want to get involved with that aspect. What you should be doing is perhaps scheduling a newsletter once a week, okay, which is pretty straightforward to do. And in the manner I've been teaching you throughout, which is to always lead with value, that's what you should also be doing with newsletters. So don't make each one of your newsletters every single week some sort of salesy newsletter. You should be doing that probably once a month. And then the other 3 can be value newsletters, okay? Now, of course, if you've been doing the blog and all the other things that I've been teaching you in this course, it should be pretty straightforward for you to send out value newsletters. Imagine that you've just written a blog post, which you perhaps are going to post to a pin on Pinterest. Well, you could also send that out to your email list, right? So people will be intrigued to read that. They'll come back to your site and they may well possibly buy. So it's not just the sales email that brings people in to buy, it's also those that lead with value. And that's how you nurture and grow your email list over time so that for every single email, you're earning $1 per month. Now, the other incredible thing about email is it's yours. You own it, okay? All these other platforms, if you think about Pinterest and Facebook and Google even, those aren't your platforms. If you have any issues with those, you probably never will, but if you ever did, that source of traffic has gone. but you own your list. No one can ever take that from you. And so building up an email list over time is incredibly important. And with just a small monthly investment, you can dramatically increase your sales revenue. So in the final lecture in this section, I have saved what I think is the best till last. I firmly believe that affiliate marketing is one of the best ways to drive traffic to your store and grow your sales exponentially at very, very little cost. But before we dive in and I show you how all this is going to work, what actually is affiliate marketing? Maybe you've never heard of it. Well, very simply put, it's simply the process whereby we pay somebody a commission for bringing a customer to our store who then buys one of our products. So by way of example, imagine if you said to a friend of yours, okay, no worries, every time you send a customer to my site and he buys one of my products, I will give you $10, all right, just for example. Now, the advantages of this method are multiple. Let me explain. First of all, you did not have to make any kind of initial investment in order to get the customer in my very simple example. Okay, you said to your friend, if you send somebody to my store and if they buy, I will pay you a commission. Okay, it's a success fee. If they don't do that, then you won't be paying anything. Secondly, your friend has the opportunity to refer many, many people. He can refer one person, 20 people, 1,000 people, doesn't really matter. The more people they refer to your site and buys, not only do you make money, but they make money. And lastly, and probably this is becoming obvious now, lastly, of course, it's not just restricted to your friend. You have the opportunity to turn anybody into an affiliate for your store. Yes, you could go to friends and family if you want, but that's a very small opportunity. You could approach Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat influencers in your niche. You could have an absolutely enormous reach, incentivizing those people to send their followings to your store to buy your products. There are literally no limitations on who you could incentivize. Now, affiliate marketing as a concept has been around literally forever. It's just that with the internet, it has become incredibly easy to implement with enormous scalability potential. And all of that for little or no upfront fees. So I hope you can now start to see where I believe this is one of the most exciting ways to promote your business. So I hope you're really excited about this opportunity, but how can you implement it for your store? Well, of course, it all starts with an app. So let's dive over to the Shopify admin and get started. Okay, so back on my trusty store, go over to the apps and of course, customize your store. And we are looking for an app called Up Promote. Okay, so UP and then another P for promote. Okay, all one word, Up Promote. Search on that. And this is the one we're looking for here. Okay, Up Promote Affiliate Marketing. Okay, so here we are, grow with ambassador, influencer, referral, and affiliate programs, okay? Now, just before we add the app, let's just have a look at some of their material here. So first of all, seamless onboarding process. So very, very easy to get potential affiliates involved with your business. Then you've got grow network equals boost revenue, which is kind of what I was alluding to, okay? The more people you have promoting your products, the more revenue that you're going to make. And then finally, a tracking. Of course, with all this activity going on, we need to be able to track everything accurately so that we can pay out our affiliate commissions and, of course, see what is working best. Now, if you're still a little bit confused about what I'm talking about with affiliate marketing, please don't worry. Just let this wash over you. Watch through this lecture, and by the end of it, I'm sure a light bulb will go off in your head. You'll be like, oh, wow, yeah, I get this now. This really is very exciting. So, of course, we're in the easy, affordable wins section of this traffic part. So you're probably wondering how much this costs. Well, if we scroll down towards the bottom here, here is the pricing. First of all, we get a 14-day free trial, but there is a free forever plan, which quite frankly is perfectly sufficient for you to get going with this app and really familiarize yourself with the power of affiliate marketing. Now, of course, there are additional packages, as you can see, at $22 a month, $70 a month, and $140 a month. Now, what I want to draw your attention to in this is the number of referral orders per month. Okay, so the number of orders that have been referred by your affiliates. So let's just do some quick maths. Let's imagine that you did get 300 referral orders and you were getting $10 profit from each one. So you have made $3,000 and you're paying $22, okay? I think that's a pretty good deal. And of course, you can see for the professional package that it makes total sense also. And then for the enterprise, you're literally into unlimited in terms of the number of orders that you can take. So your absolute maximum will be 140 a month. But by that stage, 140 a month is not going to be a problem at all. But this is absolutely fantastic, the way they put this together. It allows you to start for free, dip your toe in, see how it can all work, and then start paying a small monthly fee as you bring in more and more orders and build a more and more profitable business. So with that done, let's go and actually install the app. So we go up here, click on Add App, the usual thing, install the app. And then we need to register, so normal thing, email, password, etc. But I draw your attention to this subpath here. This is where you're going to want to put in the actual name of your store, okay? So that your link, your affiliate link, is properly associated with your business. So for me here, I'm going to put in Tim's Fantastic Deals, put in the password and register. Brings you into a poll, which you can go through, but down the bottom here, you can actually just exit this. So let's exit the poll. And we are into the Up Promote app. So at this stage, what I want to do is show you how you could set up your first affiliate program. Very high level, just to give you an idea of how this would work. You'll be able to easily figure out the rest on your own. I'm absolutely sure of that. No problem. Okay. So by the end of this lecture, you should have a pretty good idea of what affiliate marketing is and how you can set up your own affiliate program. Then in the next lecture, because this is going on a little bit, so I'm going to divide it into two parts. In the next lecture, we'll talk about who you could promote it to. Okay. So the various influencers and how you would actually go about that. Okay. So I hope that's nice and clear. So in order to get going here, let's click on this button down the bottom here, Start Quick Setup. So the first thing I need to do is to set up our program settings. So our program is essentially the offer that we're going to give to our affiliates, what we're going to show to, let's say, an Instagram influencer so that they're encouraged to go and promote their link and ultimately sell our products. Now, of course, you can edit all of this, but just in the interest of time, I'm going to leave this by default. And actually, it's a very good start anyway. So you can see here, we got a name, standard affiliate commission, and then the description. So we're talking to the influencer here, yeah? You will get a 10% commission on total referral sales when a customer makes a purchase through your affiliate link. Okay, so that's the description of the program. And then actually how it's going to work. So we go to type here, where we could basically have a flat rate per order, a flat rate per item, or a percentage of sale. Typically, I would suggest you go for percentage of sale. And then, of course, you have the actual percentage that they're going to get. So if you change this here to say 20 or 30, don't forget to change it over here in the description. All right. So with that set up, the next thing I want to do is click on Next and Save. Now here you want to upload your logo, which I strongly suggest you do because it makes that strong connection between your branding, your site, and your affiliate program. Okay. I won't do it here in the interest of time. I'm just simply going to click through these various steps. So let's jump on to step number 3. Now this third step is really a key step because this is all about creating a form that's going to sit on your website that's going to allow your potential affiliates to sign up for the affiliate program. So in the next lecture, I'm going to show you how we can contact potential affiliates, influencers, whoever it might be, to actually bring them to this form. Okay, so they'll arrive on this form. They're like, okay, brilliant. I can sign up for this affiliate program. I can promote this guy's products and I can get, in this particular instance, 10% of every sale that is made. Okay. So this is all point and click as ever. This heading text here relates to this section, okay? So you want to change this. So let me change this to Tim's Fantastic Deals, okay? It's changing over here. Join our affiliate program. All of this, of course, is editable. Where you've got benefits here, this benefits text, this is this box here. Okay, so if I change this, you can probably see it changing over here. Okay, so let me just put it back in benefits. So you can easily customize this whole form and you can also play around with the background. Okay, so I'm going to leave all as default and click on Next and Save. And then the final step relates to how you're actually going to be paying your affiliates. So when somebody comes to the site, buys the product, you will need to give the affiliate his percentage, 10% in this case. So you have various options here about how you would go ahead and do that. I'm going to leave it on PayPal, but there are multiple options in the ways that you could send them money. All right? So I'm going to leave as is and click on next and save. And that brings us to the overall review of everything that we've just done. Now, there are other steps that we could take here, but you have now at this point put the basics in place. So what I want to do then is to come down here and just click on exit, which brings us back to the dashboard. But this time, if I go into the programs, you will see the program we just created, okay? Standard Affiliate Commission Program. And if you ever wanted to edit it, then you can do that simply by clicking over here on Edit Program. Now, there is an awful lot more that we could do here, but what I don't want to do is overwhelm and confuse you at this stage. What I'm trying to do is to give you a high-level overview about what affiliate marketing is, the enormous benefits that there are, and how you can easily set up a program. So I really hope that I've achieved that. Now, the key thing we have left here is how can your potential affiliate find that form that we just created? Well, it's over here on this link here. So if I click on this, this is the direct link to that form. So you can see that it actually lives on uppromote.com, but we've got our own branding in here, Tim's Fantastic Deals/register. So if I copy this, paste it into the bar at the top here, you will see that form pop up that we just created. And so literally in a few clicks, we have set up our own affiliate program. We can now send that link to tens, hundreds, thousands of people if we want, to encourage them to promote our products and get a commission every single time a sale is made. So the last piece of the jigsaw, therefore, is where can we find the people that we really want in order to promote our products? So let's talk about that in the next lecture. Okay, so picking up directly from the last lecture, we're now going to look at where we can find those people that are going to promote our products. Where are we going to be able to find our affiliates? Now, there are, in fact, tons of places where we can find affiliates, but what I want to do in this lecture is show you the most effective ones, okay? As ever with this course, what I'm trying to do is get you to your goal as quickly, as efficiently as possible. So we're going to be looking at the best platforms where you can find your affiliates. So first on our list is Instagram. Instagram influencers. And of course, an influencer is simply somebody who has a decent following, somebody who has an influence over the people that are following them. So when they say something, their following listens and may well take action. And of course, for us, that means that if they say this product looks really, really interesting, a percentage of those followers may well click on that link and ultimately, in this case, visit our store and hopefully buy your products. Now, just before I get into how to contact Instagram influencers, how to find the most appropriate ones for your business, I do want to make one point, one really, really important point. And in fact, this will stand you in really good stead when you're building any kind of business. And in fact, let me illustrate this with an example. Often with things like Instagram, our initial thought is, yeah, I'm going to go and contact an influencer with like millions and millions of followers, like a really big one. That's the best thing to do. But the problem is, at the moment, we're very small. We're just starting out in our business. So if you go and contact somebody with millions and millions of followers, you're simply not going to get their attention. It doesn't work like that in business. In fact, what you should be doing is contacting and trying to work with people who have a slightly bigger following than you, okay? Just a little bit. The analogy for me is you're climbing a ladder, okay? At the moment, we're on the first rung and we're trying to get to the very top of this ladder. We can't make that leap from the first rung to the top of the ladder in one go, okay? As I say, it doesn't work like that. But what you can do is take a step to the next rung on the ladder and then the next one and the next one. So that's how you build business, okay? Step by step. So when it comes to these influencers and these various platforms we're going to talk about, you basically want to be contacting people who are on the next rung of the ladder, those that are just slightly further progressed than from where you are now. So I really hope you can see why that makes sense. And as I say, if you understand that, if you grasp it, if you follow that rule, it's really going to help you building both this business and any business that you might do in the future. So what does that mean in the context of Instagram right now? Well, basically what you want to be doing is trying to contact influencers that have a following of 1,000 followers or more. Something like that, okay? Not millions and millions, just 1,000 or more. So let me dive over to Google to show you how easy it is to find those particular influencers. So here I'm over on the Google search engine. I've already typed this in just for the interest of time. So you can see here I've got site:instagram.com. So I want to specifically search a site, in this case Instagram. And then I put K followers in speech marks. So basically K meaning 1,000. So 1,000 followers. And then here I put dog. Okay, that's basically my niche. I'm looking for people who are interested in dogs, okay, on Instagram in order to promote my dog jewelry products. And then in the results here, you can see basically a load of Instagram influencers with a fairly limited following, those that are probably going to be very, very receptive to what we have to offer. So if I just click on one at random, so let's click on this one here, dog beliefs, click on that one. And so now I'm here on their profile and you can see that they've got 13.9 thousand followers. Okay, so it's not like you have to look for somebody who's got exactly 1,000 followers. It's not that. It's like I say, you're not looking for people with millions and millions of followers. So let's just say in the beginning, as a very general rule of thumb, anywhere in between, let's say 1 and 30 to 40,000 followers, something like that, is going to be receptive to your offering. Now, the other thing that's really important is that this needs to have a decent level of engagement. And I tend to use a kind of 10% rule. So as we hover over these and we look at the number of likes these various posts are getting, I'm looking for something like 10% of 13.9. So if we call it 14,000, so about 1,400, 1,500 likes per post. And so if I hover over these again, you can see this has got 1,200, this one's got 2,100, 944, 2,100, etc. So I might well consider this one as a potential influencer that I might want to contact. And so, of course, I can just work down through that list in Google and start making a short list of those Instagram influencers that may well be of interest to me. So, of course, at this stage, you're going to need an Instagram account. You might already have one, but what you want to do is to create one around your business, all right? And the content that you want to do, the post that you want to make, is very similar to those attraction marketing techniques I already taught you, and also the blog. So, in other words, leading with value, and then now and again dropping a post that could be directly showing one of your products. So once you've found somebody that you think might be interesting to work with, of course, the first thing you need to do is to follow them. Now, normally under this suggested thing, it would show other Instagram accounts that are similar to this dog beliefs, but this is a teaching Instagram account that I use, so it's not coming up with anything in particular. But just to let you know that when it comes up in this suggested thing here, you may well get many other accounts that could be really, really interesting for you. So now that you're following them, clearly the next thing you want to do is to actually contact them. And the best way to do this initially is through a direct message. Now, what should you write in that message? Well, what you shouldn't write is anything kind of salesy, okay? That's just going to simply put them off. And they may block you and you may never hear from them again, okay? What you want to do is just to start off just as if you met the person in real life. I always think that's the best analogy. Just because you're online doesn't necessarily mean that you need to behave any differently. Just imagine you've met them in the street. So what are you going to say? You're going to say something like, look, I love your page. I love what you're doing here. I love the content. I like this particular picture, whatever it is. Start to build that trust with just a few simple sentences. And then towards the end of your DM, you can just drop in and say, hey, by the way, I have an affiliate program if you're interested in joining and promoting my products, which I think could be really, really interesting for your audience. Here's the link if you want to go and check it out. So just really, really simple and not salesy at all. Okay. Now, sometimes with Instagram, they say no DMs, in which case you'll need to contact them by email. So you just need to search around a bit to find that email. Typically, that's not too hard. Now, one of the things I would say, if you are going to contact them by email, make sure that you're contacting them from a professional email address. Way back in the course, we talked about setting up a professional email address, and this is yet another example of why that's important. If you just come to them from a Gmail address or some sort of random email address, they're not going to take you seriously. Okay, it really does have an effect. It's all psychological. I know the content is exactly the same, but by having a professional email address that's properly linked to your business, you're going to get a much better response. So it really is as simple as that. Now, of course, having said that, this is a numbers game. Clearly, not every single influencer that you contact is going to be responsive. Only a percentage are going to be. So you'll need to contact a lot. Now, in order to do this and to avoid overwhelm, you want to create yourself a plan, okay? A very simple plan. Now, I know everybody's time commitments, their availability is different. But just for example, let's say you say to yourself, okay, so every day between 6 and 6:30, I'm going to spend that half an hour, no other distractions, and all I'm going to do is try and contact as many Instagram influencers in my niche as possible. Now, if you can do that on a regular basis, if you can do it every day, so much the better. But if you can only do it once a week, then that's fine. But just make a regular thing so that after a period of time, you suddenly realize you've actually contacted an awful lot of them, and you will start to get responses, okay? They will start coming to your affiliate program, and they will start joining it. And then they will start promoting your products to their audience. So that free traffic starts to flow to your store. It's highly targeted. It's warm. It's basically been recommended by somebody outside of your business. So the chances of them buying are massively increased. So that's Instagram influencers. So the next place I want to talk about where you can find affiliates is the Up Promote Marketplace. So to show you how this works, let me dive back over to the Up Promote app. So Up Promote is not just a piece of software to allow us to create an affiliate program. It also has a marketplace where it brings together people who've created affiliate programs, so people like yourself, with affiliates looking for the opportunity. So when we were talking about Instagram before, we were being proactive. We were going out to Instagram and trying to find influencers who could be of interest to us. With the marketplace, those same influencers, or indeed anybody from anywhere, can come to the marketplace on Up Promote and look for affiliate opportunities. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. It's a marketplace that brings together the two sides. Now, what's super cool is you can do this completely for free. And in fact, if you look over here, you see this recruit affiliates. And if you click on marketplace listing, then all you need to do to get your affiliate program to show up for free in their marketplace is just fill in this form. All right, very simple. Fill in the form and then just click on Save Changes at the bottom. And then it'll appear in the marketplace. So to bring it to life a bit, if I click on here, View Our Marketplace, this is the marketplace itself. So this is publicly available. Anybody can come along here and apply for any kind of affiliate program that might be interesting for them. So if I put in dog here, just for the sake of example, and click on search, scroll down a bit, then these are all the various dog affiliate programs. So mine would probably appear amongst these, right? And then anybody can come along and promote my products. I don't need to do anything. It really is fantastic. Now, this approach, having listed on the marketplace, basically means you kind of sit there and wait for something to happen, which is absolutely fine. But you do have an additional option if you want. You can contact the affiliates that are already listed on the marketplace directly and say, would you like to promote my product? But for that, it is a paying service. Just to show you how that works, so I go back to the marketplace listing page here, scroll up. Okay, so this is the form that you would fill in. You can see here, view affiliate profiles. And you can also see that it's not available. It says up there, you need to list your offer on Up Promote Marketplace. Oh, great. We've already looked at that. And be on the growth plan or above to use this function. So what's the growth plan? Well, if we go over to the pricing, here it is. Okay. So the growth plan is $22 a month. But what I want to draw your attention to is this bit down here, build your affiliate team. So you can see under the free one where we currently are, we can list things on the marketplace, but we can't find potential affiliates. We can't contact them directly, but we can do on the growth plan. We can also, you can see here, convert customers to affiliates. I'm going to talk about this in a moment, but we can also do this with the growth plan as well. But just staying focused on what we're talking about right now, the ability to contact directly affiliates on the marketplace, that would be $22 a month. Now, I stress this is totally optional, but if you do decide to go for it, then you just simply need to ask yourself, will I make more than $22 in sales every month if I do this? I believe you will, but that decision ultimately is entirely up to you. But I hope you can see how powerful the Up Promote Marketplace is, both as a completely free opportunity and also, if you want to upgrade, how much additional functionality and sales it could possibly bring you. Okay, so next on the list are TikTok influencers. Now, the way that you contact these, the way that you interact them, and the way that you find them is very, very similar to Instagram. Okay, so I'm not going to go through that process again. The reason, however, for including TikTok in this list is because on TikTok, the videos that they create have the potential to go viral. Okay, that can be very, very exciting for your store. Now, I definitely don't want to fill you with false hope because the opportunity for someone to actually go viral is small. But being on TikTok, being present, making the effort to actually contact the influencers could, who knows, create something very, very exciting and possibly explosive sales growth. But as I say, that's likely to be a very, very small opportunity, but definitely worth having a look at. Next up, we have Facebook group admins. Now, I'm sure you remember when we were talking in the free traffic section about Facebook attraction marketing. So this is the process where you join Facebook groups in your niche and then start providing value posts so the members of those groups basically find your store and ultimately buy your products, okay? Very, very effective technique, very effective free technique. Well, we can now take that to the next level. So let's imagine you've been part of a group for a while, you've been interacting, you've been building your reputation. Now you can approach the group admin and say, hey, by the way, I have an affiliate program. Here's the link. If you want, you can post this within the group, maybe make it a pinned post. And for every sale that's made from anybody within the group, I will give you a 10, 20% commission, whatever it is you've set up. Very, very natural, very, very easy conversation to have with those group admins at that point in time, and an extremely effective way, once again, to build your sales. Now, you don't just have to limit it, if you don't want to those groups that you've already joined. If you want to be a little bit more proactive, then you could certainly start contacting Facebook groups that you're not a part of. Of course, you want them to be within your niche. You want it to make sense. Now, when you do contact them, remember, it's the same process as when you contact any kind of influencer. Just keep it light. Just, hey, I really like your group. I can see what you're doing. I think we have a nice fit. And by the way, here's my affiliate program. If you're interested, please come and join. But of course, it's always going to be a much easier conversation if you've already been part of that group, interacting with that group for some time and providing, as I said before, considerable value. Now, the next great place to find affiliates to promote your products is YouTube, okay? YouTube influencers. So let's dive over to YouTube. And as you can see, I've already done a search on dog jewelry. Now, when it comes to the people you actually want to contact, it's very similar rules to what I taught you with the Instagram influencers. So in other words, remember the ladder analogy? You want to be contacting those people that are kind of on the next rung above. You don't want to be trying to contact people with millions and millions of subscribers because they simply won't give you the time of day. So you want to try and find people between, let's say, 1 and 40,000 subscribers, something like that. So here I'm just literally working at random, but let's just imagine that this one was of interest. So if I click on here, I can see that they've got 2.45k subscribers. So this might be a good fit. Now, when it comes to contacting them, 9 times out of 10, you can find their email address in the About section. So go over to the About section. You can see in this case, for business inquiries, view email address. I'm not a robot. Click submit. And there it is. So I can very easily send them an email, of course, from my professional email address. Now, in the way that you're going to contact them is exactly the same as I've already taught you with Instagram. So you might say something like, I've checked out your channel. I really enjoy your content. It's extremely engaging. By the way, I also have an affiliate program. If you would like to join, here is the link. Now, if they do join, I suggest you leave how they're going to promote your products up to them. Okay, they might make an individual video about a product, or they might say something like, this video is sponsored by, and then possibly be your store. Okay, just leave it entirely up to them. But I think you can very quickly see, I mean, the power of YouTube. There are so many channels that once again, your biggest problem is going to be that you become overwhelmed. So you remember again that I taught you in order to avoid that to come up with some kind of plan. So you might be spending 15 minutes a day contacting Instagram influencers, or you can spend another 15 minutes a day contacting YouTube channels. Okay. Very quickly over time, you'll be amazed how much you're going to do. The trick is to do little and often, not try to do 5 hours on a Saturday or something like that. That really becomes very stale and very, very ineffective. Little and often is an incredible way to build a business. And YouTube, as you can see, is yet another incredible opportunity. And then lastly, but by no means least, your very own customers. So imagine you've had a customer that's come to the store, they bought one of your products, they love it, they love the experience. Why not give them the opportunity to earn a bit more money by promoting your products, basically joining your affiliate program? Now, it might be that they're going to promote that to their friends and family, but also they might have a far greater reach. who knows how far that could possibly run. It could be huge, and I really do believe that very, very few store owners are grasping this opportunity. And once again, Up Promote Marketplace makes this possible. You remember when we were looking at it, at the growth plan, one of the things the growth plan gave you was the ability for you to send your affiliate link to your customers of your store. Okay, so another, I believe, great reason to take that growth plan. But of course, entirely up to you. So there you have it. As I say, this is not an exhaustive list, but I do believe that these are the best opportunities. But I hope you can see from the last 2 lectures how building your very own affiliate program is an unbelievable way to drive potentially enormous amounts of traffic to your store. So welcome to the final section in the traffic part of this course, which I've entitled Paid Advertising and the Perfect Strategy. So what we're going to do here in this lecture, we're going to talk about paid advertising. And then in the next lecture, I'm going to talk about the perfect strategy. I'm going to bring together everything that I've been teaching you, and I'm going to layer on top of that my 20 plus years experience in e-commerce to give you the best possible strategy to drive traffic to your store. So let's kick off this lecture on paid advertising. And I'm going to ask a question which you probably weren't expecting, which is it even necessary? Do we even need to do paid advertising? And so often people believe that almost the first thing they need to do is to dive into paid advertising. But I've been showing you with all the things I've been teaching on traffic in these last several lectures now, that there are many, many ways, not just to drive free traffic to your store, but also easy, affordable traffic. So to answer the question, is it even necessary? I believe that no, it's not necessary. You do not need to do paid advertising if you don't want to. I know that a lot of people are on limited budgets, and therefore free traffic strategies and the easy affordable wins are incredibly powerful techniques that cost really next to nothing. You can get return on your investment as long as you're willing to put in the time very quickly. So I really hope that I've opened your eyes to other types of traffic and that paid advertising really isn't necessary. Now, having said that, of course, there are huge advantages to paid advertising, and there are, as you would expect, some disadvantages as well. So what are the advantages? Well, the main one, basically, is the moment you start paying for traffic, you're going to get traffic to your store, okay? That's how it works. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get high-quality traffic that's actually going to buy your products. But it's true to say that if you start paying for advertising, you're going to get traffic. Now that ties in exactly with the big disadvantage, which is the moment you stop paying, that's the moment that your traffic stops. Now, I know that seems obvious, but if you cast your mind back to the free traffic techniques in particular, that's not the case. Once you develop content, put in that effort, the traffic is always going to flow. It's never going to be switched off. You'll have traffic coming to your store for years to come, as long as you keep up those methods. With paid advertising, that's not the case. In order to make it work, clearly you need to pay. Now, the other big disadvantage, if you like, or something that people really overlook or perhaps don't consider, is that almost every single paid traffic platform works as an auction. Okay, Facebook, Google, whatever it might be. And that means that the ads that are served the most essentially go to the highest bidder. And so what's happening over time is that for certain keywords, certain sectors, certain niches, it's getting more and more expensive. I mean, literally in the last 12 months, paid advertising has probably doubled or perhaps tripled in price in certain sectors. And of course, you don't have any control of that. If your competitors are willing to pay more than you are, then they're going to get the traffic. You're still going to get traffic as well, but it's going to continually push up the prices. You do not have control over that pricing. So what I'm trying to say is when you go into paid advertising, you've got to go in with your eyes wide open. It's not a silver bullet. So many people think, oh yeah, just pay for advertising and then I'll get loads of amazing traffic to my store and then people will start buying my products. It doesn't work like that. And I've seen so many people sadly fail as a result. And there are, of course, so many empty promises out there on the internet. It frustrates me so much when I see so many people selling very expensive courses, giving false hope, saying, oh, it's incredibly easy to get the traffic you need to your store. Just give me the $2,000 for my course or whatever it is. I'll show you how within a few days you're going to have amazing quality traffic to your store and your sales are going to explode. I'm sure you've seen those promises. And I can tell you right now, sadly, that almost always that is not going to happen. Paid advertising is a skill that you have to learn. It does take time and it can potentially cost a lot. Now, all of that sounds like I'm really anti-paid advertising. I'm really not, but there is a time and a place when you should run your paid ads. And that time, and this is really something to note, if you've got a pen, you might want to write this down. That time is when you really understand your ideal customer. So once again, casting our eye back to all of the things I've taught you in this traffic section, if you were to go through those processes, those free traffic processes, those easy, affordable wins, within a few months, you're really going to understand your ideal customer, the sort of person that is going to buy your products. And once you have that understanding, that is marketing gold. That is so, so valuable. And then with that knowledge, that's when you can start your paid ads. So again, what tends to happen is that people will just start paid advertising, but they don't really know who they're advertising to, hence the high failure rate. But if you go into it knowing who is going to buy your products, knowing who you want to show your ads to, your success rate is going to be massively, massively increased. So it's not something you should rush into. You should never rush into paid advertising. And before you do, you should be really confident that you fully understand your ideal customer. So with that understanding in place, the next thing is, where should you advertise? Well, there's literally no shortage, okay? The ones I've written here, Facebook, Google, Pinterest, TikTok, they are all amazing platforms, and almost all of them will have your ideal customer hanging out on them, waiting to be targeted. That said, the buyer intent on these platforms can be really quite different. So the buyer intent meaning the person that is currently on that platform, what really is their intention to buy? So let me clarify that a bit. On Facebook, when you go on Facebook, you're not really going to look for products to buy, okay? You're going to see what your friends are up to and what have you. And then there'll be an ad serve up to you. It'll be interrupting your newsfeed or whatever. And at that point, you've then got to basically click on it and go and buy. But you didn't come to Facebook in the first place looking for products to buy. Now, on the flip side, Google, when you type something into the search bar, there's probably a fairly high intent that you're looking to buy. And so when the ads are served up, they kind of make more sense and you're more likely to click on them and potentially buy products. The same is true of Pinterest as well. I said in several lectures ago that the buyer intent on Pinterest is also very high. Whenever I go on Pinterest, I'm looking for ideas. Let's say I'm looking for home decor ideas or something like that. And I'm looking for those ideas because I'm looking to do up my house in some sort of fashion. I know that ultimately I'm going to end up buying products and potentially spending money. And then TikTok is more like the sort of Facebook platform in the sense that people aren't really going on there to buy. They're going on there to be entertained. And so while it's easy to get blinded by the number of users on these platforms, I mean, we're talking about billions of users, what you really want to ask yourself is my ideal customer actually hanging out on these platforms before I go ahead and start advertising? Now, another really important point before you make that leap into the world of paid advertising is to get some kind of education around the platform. You don't need a massive amount. And on this course, I make no apology, but I simply cannot teach how to do paid advertising on every single one of those platforms out there. Okay, this course would be like 2,000 hours long. I would probably go mad and you would get very, very bored listening to me. But that's not really a problem, okay? But before I get into what you should do in order to find great information, please, and I've already said this, please don't pay for one of those expensive courses. It really is very, very unlikely it's going to bring you anything. All it's going to do is make the person who wrote the course wealthy. One of the reasons why I love to produce courses on Udemy, and I don't really put them anywhere else, is because courses on Udemy are affordable. I hope you paid just a few dollars for this course, and I hope you feel like you got a massive, massive, massive amount of value out of it. The reverse is often true with these courses where you spend $1,000 or $2,000. At the end of it, you're left feeling empty and somewhat cheated. So please, unless you got a really, really good reason, don't pay for an expensive course. Because the alternative is really so simple. Your alternative is YouTube. It's an absolute gold mine for the latest information on how to advertise on your chosen platform. So you can see here, this is basically just a sample search term that you might want to put in. So Facebook ads dropshipping, Google ads dropshipping, Pinterest and dropshipping, whatever it might be. And there'll be plenty of free information. You don't need to watch hundreds and hundreds of hours. Just a couple of hours of watching good videos is going to give you an amazing leg up, an incredible start into your paid advertising journey. So let's talk about the perfect strategy, how to drive a continuous stream of affordable traffic to your store so that people continue to buy your products as you build a really amazing business. Now, none of what I'm about to say is going to be a surprise, because really what I'm doing is summing up everything that I've taught you in these last, I'm not sure how many lectures it is now, possibly 10, 15 lectures on traffic. All right. But one thing I really do want to say is that the perfect strategy is 90% mindset. Let me explain. Okay. So much these days is all about get rich quick. Okay. If you have a get-rich-quick mindset, you are more than likely to fail. Why? Because you set up false hope, and then when you don't realize that hope within the first week or 2 weeks or possibly month, you give up. All right? You have got to have a long-term strategy. I've been saying this throughout the course. I'm not sure how many times I've said this now, but I've been saying things like, you're going to build a real business. This is not get-rich-quick. It takes time to develop traffic. So much of what I'm saying is the reality. As I say, having done this for 20 plus years, I know how it goes. And so much of what you're going to hear on YouTube and various other platforms is how easy it is. And they are really selling false dreams. Okay, I'm not going to go on about that anymore, okay? But really, 90% is mindset. So what you've got to say to yourself is, right, where do I want to be in a year from now? If I could have a business that's making $10,000 a month in sales or in profit, would I be happy? All right. In a year's time, let's just say, for example, would you be happy? Now, most people at this point are furiously nodding. They're like, yeah, give me that $10,000 a month business that is mine, that I can be proud of, that I can potentially sell, and for sure, I will work for it. That's the mindset that you need. And one really good tip is actually to write that down on like a sticky note or something like that and put it next to your laptop. Remind yourself of when you started on this journey and when that target is supposed to arrive. And I know that's kind of perhaps a silly thing to do, but it really does create the right mindset if you're looking at that every day. Because the other thing that happens is, it's not always going to be good news. You're going to struggle at times and you're going to feel like you want to give up. But if you remind yourself that you are working towards a goal, a fantastic goal within a year, well, it doesn't have to be a year. It could be a year, 18 months, something like that. But it's going to be something of that kind of time frame, okay? It's not going to be within a month, I hate to say. All right? So think of it long term. Remind yourself continuously of exactly what you're trying to achieve, and that will set you up for the perfect mindset, 90% of what you need to succeed. So if we then dive into the actual strategy itself, this is what I suggest. For the easy free wins, you work 1 to 2 months or the first 10 to 50 sales, whichever one of those comes first. This is really going to give you an incredible introduction to your business and, as I keep on saying, give you an amazing knowledge of your ideal customer, not to mention a whole host of skills that you're learning along the way. Now, once you get to that point, the next thing you want to do is move up to the easy, affordable wins. And you're probably going to be working those for 2 to 6 months, something like that, or the next 50 to 200 sales. These are broad brush figures, but once again, what I'm trying to say is it's going to happen in time frames that people often think is going to be longer than they think. This is the reality. Now, once you get to that point, 200 sales, or you've been working on this for 6 months, then you're ready to move into the paid traffic strategies. That's when you want to consider them. You don't have to, as I say, it's not essential, but that's the time to go into it because paid traffic really is incredibly scalable. Okay. So you can take it from 200 sales to 2,000 to 20,000 sales. There really is no limit because at that point, the more you're paying, the more traffic you're going to get. But now you're paying for real traffic, those people who are genuinely going to buy your products because you fully understand who your ideal customer is. All right, I think I've driven that point home. But really, that's it. Easy free wins, easy affordable wins, and then the paid advertising, exactly as I structured it in these last several lectures. Now, having said that, one of the things that can happen is overwhelm. Another thing in order to succeed in any business is to avoid overwhelm. And when it comes to traffic, what you'll want to do is to pick your favorite strategies. Now, I've taught you a bunch of strategies and you could definitely go ahead with all of them. But you might find that you don't have the time to do that, or there are certain ones that you prefer to others, and that's absolutely fine. That's going to happen as you progress. It's just natural. So you'll end up picking your favorite strategies and then most importantly, develop a plan. Again, I've said this a few times. Put some time aside to develop a plan, whatever that might be. Okay, it might be 5 minutes a day, it might be half an hour, it might be the entire day, whatever it is, but you need a plan you can work to. You really need to make it a kind of mechanical process that you go through every single day. That is how you succeed. If you don't do that, what's going to happen is you're going to have a kind of scattergun approach. You're not really going to have any focus. You're quickly going to lose focus should you have any. You're going to get overwhelmed. And that's when people start thinking, I can't handle this anymore. I'm going to give up, or I need to go back to square one. It can be very demoralizing. All that can be avoided by picking your favorite strategies and developing a really simple but effective plan. So ultimately, work little and often and never, ever give up. Welcome to this brand new section where we're going to talk about order fulfillment. How do we actually go about sending the product to the customer? Of course, up until this point, we've been talking about building the site and sending highly targeted traffic to your site. So now people are going to start buying. Now, before I actually start showing you how to fulfill the order, first of all, I want to show you exactly what the customer goes through when they buy a product from your site. That way you can see the emails that go out, what it looks like in your Shopify admin, and also what it looks like in Deezer's. So that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this lecture. And in order to do that, I'm going to buy off of my own site this stunning dog necklace. So let's go to the product page. Let's add to the cart. Let's view the cart. And then let's head to the checkout. So in the interest of time, you can see that I've pre-filled in this form. I've put in at the top my own email address so I can show you exactly the email that I'm going to receive as a customer. And then I put in a fictitious address in the United States because I want to show you how the shipping is going to be calculated. You can see over here it says shipping calculated at next step. So I'm sure you remember many lectures ago when we were talking about setting up the shipping rates. We set up rates for the United States, that was our first zone, and the other zone was the rest of the world. Just in case you have forgotten, let me just come back here to the shipping rates. There was all this part here, okay? You remember we had rate 1, $0 to $30 was $2.95. Rate 2, $30 and up was $3.95. And I also said at the end of that lecture that we'll see this in action later on. Well, this is that moment. So when I click on continue to shipping, what's going to happen is it's going to identify the fact that I'm going to ship to the US and therefore it's going to appropriate the correct shipping amount. So if I click on continue to shipping, you can see that because the cost is $29.95, i.e. between 0 and 30, it's added on rate 1, the $2.95, bringing me up to a total of $32.90. So then the next thing I do, of course, as the customer is to click on continue to payment. And then at this point, it's going to vary depending on which payment provider you have set up. I'm sure you remember as well the lecture on payment providers. And I set up PayPal. So you can see here I'm giving my customers the option to pay with PayPal. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to complete the order. I'm going to pay with PayPal, and I'll see you back here once I'm done. Okay, I'm back. And as you can see, I get a very nice confirmation page. So thank you, Tim. Your order is confirmed. And of course, my customer information, followed by what I actually bought and how much I actually paid. I also receive an email, and that email looks like this. So we have a thank you for your purchase. Hi, Tim. We're getting your order ready to be shipped. We will notify you when it has been sent. So that's the first thing that's going to happen, right? It's not sent immediately. Somebody's actually got to put that thing in some kind of package and send it off. I know you're probably very familiar with these processes because, of course, you will have received many emails like this, having, I'm sure, bought many things off the internet. And then at the bottom here, of course, we have the order summary. I can, at any stage, also click on View My Order, View Your Order, and go back to the site to see exactly what I bought. Now, these emails go out automatically. There is nothing for you to do. It's yet another very powerful feature of Shopify. And just to show you where that happens, if I go back to my store, to the settings here, and we go down to the notifications and scroll down a bit, You see this? Orders. Here you see all of the various emails that can go out. So we have just received the order confirmation email. And if I click in this, you get a whole lot of gobbledygook. You don't have to worry about it, okay? But if I click over here on preview, then you get to see a template of the email that's going to be sent out. Now, you could change this. All of this is editable. But to be honest, and especially in the beginning, I really don't advise you to touch it. It is very, very well laid out, very, very well thought out by Shopify already. Unless you've got a burning desire to change things, I would leave them basically as they are. So that's the procedure that I see as a customer buying something from my site. So that's that. And as I said before, that's a procedure that you're very familiar with because you've seen this from the customer point of view many times. But what you probably have never seen is what it looks like in Shopify. As you, as the store owner, what do you see? Well, when somebody buys something from your site, you're also going to get an email confirmation. But more critically, I want to show you what it looks like in the orders section. So over here, you can see we have orders 1. You've never been into this area before because we haven't needed to, but now is the time. So if I click on orders, you can see here a summary of the order, the time it was bought, who the customer was, and how much they paid. And if I then click into this, I then get more details about the order itself. So, of course, the price, the shipping address, contact information, and this very nice timeline basically grows, of course, as this whole process proceeds. So I think you would agree it's a very nice summary. Now, the other thing that happens is you're going to also see this order on Deezers. So if we go over to the apps and click on Deezers, and then come down here to open orders, you also see exactly the same order sitting here on Deezers. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking, that's great, but it's also a little bit confusing. Why are there 2 places where my order is basically being shown to me? Why are there 2 places where it seems like I could manage my order from? Now, you'd be right to be confused, and there's many ways of doing this, and I'm going to teach you the way that I do it because, of course, I considered it to be the simplest and most efficient. So, I'd like you to think of it in this manner. What I just showed you over on Shopify Admin, the orders section there, I tend to look at that simply as my bookkeeping, okay, where I can see my list of orders, but I don't really action anything from there. It's simply a list of orders building up. Where I action things, where I actually make the order on Ali, and we're going to see this in the next lecture, is from Deezers. So let's say that Deezers does all the heavy lifting for me. Deezers is where the action happens, okay? So I hope that's clear. If it's not, don't worry. As we go through this, especially the next lecture, when I'm going to show you actually how to fulfill the order, it will become clearer and clearer. Look, for the time being, what you've now seen is what the customer sees, so the procedure they need to go through on your site, the confirmation page that they see once they've bought something, and the email that they receive. You've seen as the store owner how it looks on your order page, and you've also seen how it looks on Deezers. So in the next lecture, let's actually make this happen. Let's buy this product and get the supplier to send it directly to our customer. Let's do our very first dropship. Okay, so a very exciting moment. Let's drop ship this product. Let's actually order it on Ali and get it sent to the customer. So how do we do it? Well, first of all, all we need to do is to click on the order button down here on Deezers next to the order itself. Okay, so if I click on order, the next thing I'll need to do is to choose a shipping method. So if I look down here through the shipping methods, you know all about AliExpress standard shipping. We've talked about that with the golden rules. So I will select that one and click on OK. So the rest of this dialog box you can just leave as is, nothing to touch. All we therefore need to do is to simply click on confirm. And when the page refreshes, you see this, successfully placed 1. Okay, that order has been successfully placed now on Ali. So if we just take a moment here to think about what's actually happened. You remember many, many lectures ago, I imported this product using Deezers. Now, since then, someone has bought the product on my store. So when I place the order with Deezers, it's sending automatically all of the order information back to the supplier on Ali. So in other words, the name of the customer, the address of the customer, and of course, what they bought. Now, you don't need to worry about the intricacies of how that works. just know that it works. Deezers makes your life really simple. When I click on those 2 buttons to effectively make the order, it's done all of that automatically in the background. However, there is still one thing left to do, and that's to actually make the payment. Okay, you see over here, make payment. Because although all the information has been sent to the supplier on Ali, they haven't actually been paid. So if you like, they're now waiting. They've received an order. They're now waiting to be paid so that they can ship that product to the customer. So at this point, all I therefore need to do is to click on Make Payment. That then takes me to this awaiting payment page. Okay, so I've got the 1 here. See this 1 waiting. If I then check this box here, I can then click on Make Payment here to go directly to AliExpress to pay the supplier. So let me click on Make Payment. I arrive on AliExpress and here you can see awaiting payment. Here is my order. And if I click into order details, you're going to see that all the information has been sent. So in other words, here's my name, here's the telephone number I put in, here's the address, etc. Everything is there. Now, typically what we'll do is we'll go to the orders page itself and simply click on Pay Now, okay, next to the order itself. So if I click on Pay Now, I get a range of payment methods that I can use to buy this product now from this supplier so that they will send it to my customer. So at this point, you could use your own credit card. You could use whatever form you want in order to pay the supplier. Don't forget that you've already got the money up front. As I go to buy this thing for $6.41, I've already received $32.50 more or less in my account. Okay, I am already ahead of the game. I am already cash flow positive, which of course is another massive benefit of dropshipping. So I'm going to go ahead and buy this, and I shall see you in a moment once I'm done. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, the payment has been successful. So what's going to happen now is the supplier is going to send the product directly to the customer. Don't forget, I'm not stocking anything. I am never going to see that product. Another huge advantage of dropshipping. And, if you have been a little bit confused about how dropshipping works, I hope this order process has really made it clear. So we've had the money up front. The customer paid us on my website. He paid me basically $32.50. I then went to AliExpress and I bought it for $6 and some change. So I've got a huge profit, plus I've already had all the money up front, so I haven't got any cash flow. Then, with the payment successful, the supplier sends it directly to my customer. I don't need to stock anything, all right? It really is an amazing model. And in addition to that, what's going to happen now is Deezers is going to inform Shopify that the payment has been made, send out the next email, and keep the whole order process up to date. So I hope you can see how simple and powerful Deezers is. I mean, this lecture has been going on just a few minutes. That's the time it took me to make the order. And of course, I'm making a lecture here. I'm thinking about my words and I'm going carefully and slowly through the process. Once you get good at this, you'll be making orders in a matter of seconds. It's very, very straightforward. Now, having said that, once you start to get a lot of orders coming in, you're going to get not necessarily fed up with making orders, but you're going to want to use your time more wisely. And that's why in the next lecture, I want to show you what you can do in order to scale your orders in the most efficient manner. Now, fulfilling your orders in the beginning is great fun. It's enormously satisfying. And of course, it's very, very exciting as you're building out a new business. But if you're really following this course and taking action, it probably won't be long before you have something of a luxury problem on your hands. And that luxury problem is going to be the number of orders that you'll need to process every day. Because it is, of course, a somewhat repetitive process. Now, whenever we have a repetitive process in business, at the point in which we can afford it, then it's a really good opportunity to look at how we can improve that process, how we can take that off of our hands and use our time more wisely. So I've entitled this lecture, How to Scale Your Orders, a Suggestion, okay? Because it is a suggestion. You don't have to do this. You can just carry on yourself fulfilling those orders. But if you are looking for an alternative route as your business grows, then the tips I'm about to give you here may well be of interest. So first off, whatever you do, I strongly recommend that you manually process your orders yourself until you reach 10 orders a day. And I suggest doing that for two reasons. The first reason is it's always a good idea to have a thorough understanding of a process before you look at alternative ways of doing it. And by doing 10 orders a day, you're definitely going to get very, very familiar with exactly what needs doing. Now, secondly, when you reach 10 orders a day, you should be looking at a profit of around about $3,000 per month. So let's be clear, that's $3,000 in profit, okay? Money in your pocket, money that you can reinvest if you wish back into your business. Or to put it another way, your business can now afford it. Whenever I try to make decisions about whether I'm going to buy something, could be anything, any product, any service, I always look to see if my business can afford it. Do I have money in my business bank account to actually go ahead and buy it? And that might sound really, really obvious, but you'd be very surprised at the number of people who don't do that. They might take money from other sources to finance their business in order to buy products and services because they feel that it's somehow going to accelerate the whole process. And it might. I'm not here to judge anybody. But generally speaking, I think it's very, very good advice to only buy products and services from the money that your business itself has made. Now, that doesn't have to be $3,000. It could be $1,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is that you feel comfortable with. But the key point here is that you can now afford it. So my primary suggestion for helping you scale your orders going forward is to consider hiring a VA, a virtual assistant. In other words, somebody who is actually going to help you process those orders. As you build your business, it's going to become probably obvious to you that using your time to process hundreds of orders every day or every month, whatever it might be, is probably not your best use of time. Yes, it's fantastic to have the money coming in, but you're going to start thinking, well, hang on a second, I could probably best use my time for, let's say, web design or product selection or whatever it might be. But the point being that a virtual assistant can make an enormous difference to your business. So a virtual assistant is perhaps not as virtual as it might sound. We are talking about a real person here, but they're virtual in the sense that they're not with you in your office. You can basically hire them from anywhere in the world. Now, there are plenty of websites where you can hire VAs, but there's one in particular that I've had good experiences with. So it's the one I'd like to show you now. I'm not affiliated with it in any way. Okay, you can choose any site you want, but I do think that this is a good place to start. So I'm over here now on onlinejobs.ph, and this really is a site that's exploded in the last really sort of 2 or 3 years. And it's essentially workers from the Philippines who are incredibly good workers, incredibly diligent. You really do get very, very good value for money. And at the same time, you're providing valuable employment. Now, I'm not about to do a detailed tutorial on how to use online jobs, but suffice to say it's a marketplace, right? You have job seekers and you have employers. And the easiest thing to do is to post a job. So when you get to that point, you can post a job. It's free to post a job. After that, when you want to contact people, there is a paying element to the site. But again, you can afford it at this stage. So you can post a job and you can say something like, I'm looking for somebody to fulfill my hundreds of orders that I'm now getting from my Shopify store. Can anyone help? And then, of course, people will respond and they'll bid and you can decide on the best person to help you out. And when you get the right person, it's incredible. It's a game changer because they're going to take a huge amount of work off your hands and hopefully they stay with you for years. So now that you understand how the whole order fulfillment process works, we do now need to spend a few minutes talking about returns and refunds because it is an inevitability. It is simply a part of doing business. Okay, you will get refunds, you will get returns, but it should typically be around 1 or 2%. So imagine you're making $10,000 a month, then you're looking at $100 to $200 in refunds, okay, and returns. So it's a very, very small percentage. And with that in mind, you can very easily handle them. And in fact, what I'm going to show you in this lecture is exactly how to handle refunds and returns and in fact, turn it to your advantage. But before we do that, let's have a look at the most common reasons for returns or refunds. So, simply don't like the product. It's broken, not what they ordered, or it never arrived. So clearly, if it never arrived, they can't return it. But we can certainly return for the other 3, and we can certainly refund in all 4 cases. So let's have a look and see what we need to do. So the first thing we need to do is to revisit our refund policy. So you may remember way back in the mists of time, several hundred lectures ago, it seems like that we put together these legal pages. And you remember the refund policy and the privacy policy and the terms of service and all that good stuff that we did. So I'm back in that area, and we need to change this refund policy. Because while it's a very thorough refund policy, I mean, this is the default one here, so it's been written in such a manner that it could cover any kind of business that any Shopify user might want. Now, we are dropshipping already, and the model I'm teaching you is to dropship these low-priced items. And that means that this current refund policy really is overkill. Okay, it's way too much for the type of business that we are running. So let me explain why in a bit more detail. Well, with a more traditional business, you would probably have a returns center. That could be a warehouse, for example, where you ask people to send products back to. Now, equally, a business could be selling far more expensive items, perhaps electronic items, so returning a laptop or a TV because it had genuinely gone faulty and needed to be fixed, or some part of guarantee or whatever it might be. There's a lot involved there. So the whole refunds and return policy and process for those types of business is way, way more complicated than what we have for ours. Because, of course, we are selling low-priced items, and therefore having a super complicated refund policy and return policy in place is simply not worth it. In addition, we are typically solopreneurs. Yeah, you're probably doing this on your own or maybe with a partner. We're a small business, and therefore anything that we can do to reduce extra work, we're definitely very, very interested in. You need to think like that. You need to think very, very efficiently in order to build a profitable business. Hopefully everything I'm showing you on this course is helping you with that. So running some sort of returns policy and picking up the phone and replying to emails and all this kind of stuff that can go on really is not a good use of time. What we want to do is to eliminate all of that. And don't forget, at the same time, I said only 1 or 2% of your overall sales should result in refunds. So if we take again the example of 10,000 a month, there is no point in doing an enormous amount of work just to try and save in some way or another $100 or $200 a month. You are much better putting your efforts elsewhere. So I'm pretty sure you get the message by now that we want to update the returns and refund policy. And what I'm about to show you might surprise you, because this is the text that I wanted to put. So it says here, instead of returning items, you can contact us for a full refund. Why? Returns run counter to our emphasis on sustainability, as every return has a carbon footprint. To be eligible for a full refund, please send us a picture of the item to info@yourshop.com. Obviously, you would replace that with your email address. After that, you can either keep the item or you might want to donate it. So yes, we don't even want them to return the item, and we will give them a no questions asked full refund. Now, this process has 2 major advantages. First of all, we don't have to deal with any kind of returns. Therefore, we don't need a return center or even somebody to deal with questions or whatever it might be. So that's job done. And secondly, by using this approach, we really impress the customer. This is something they wouldn't necessarily be expecting, and it leaves a very good taste in their mouth. Typically, when there's a problem with something, the customer's ready for a fight, okay? And if you fight fire with fire in any way, then you're just going to create this kind of huge crisis, and it's going to be very, very difficult to control. But by doing this, we effectively douse the flames immediately, if you like, and therefore we put the customer at ease and they're back on our side. Now, the reason why we ask them to send us a picture is because there is an appeals process on AliExpress where we can get potentially a refund from our supplier. So if, for example, the item was damaged or faulty or whatever, if we can send our supplier on AliExpress the picture, they may well refund us. And just so that you're clear on where to do that, I'm over here on the order details page over on AliExpress. And this is my open dispute button. So if the product never showed up, I could apply for a refund. Or indeed, if I managed to get a picture of that product that was broken or faulty in any way, I would upload it also via this process. Okay, but what I suggest you do right now is take this text and update your refund policy with exactly what's written here. Now, just to round out this lecture, the other thing I want to show you is how you would actually make a refund itself via Shopify. So let's dive over to the admin so I can show you how that will work. So I'm back here on my order itself, and you're going to see that this is very, very straightforward. I draw your attention to this refund button up the top here. So when I make a refund, all I need to do is to click on this. It brings up the detail, of course, of the order itself. Then I'm going to actually refund the value of this product. So we'll make this a 1. The price goes to $29.95. And I'm also going to refund the shipping. So in here, I'll put in $2.95 so that the full refund to the customer will be as it's shown here, $32.90 available for refund. And then all I need to do is simply click on this button. At that point, your payment provider will take care of the actual refund itself.